Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the Woodbine Mile, not the only Grade 1 stakes event at Woodbine on Saturday. We also have the Northern Dancer Turf at 1.5 miles over the E.P. Taylor Turf Course. And again, if you can't make it out to Woodbine on Saturday and you live in the Ontario area, no better place to watch the races than at Champions Off-Track Betting. Over 50 locations across Ontario. It brings the excitement of horse racing closer to home. Let's meet the field for the Grade 1 Northern Dancer Turf. Again, it's a 300 grander at 12 furlongs. Odds on for the European Invader, the number 1 Old Persian. Let's talk a little bit about Old Persian, Mike, and we'll start with a formulator fact for trainer Charlie Appleby, who has done very good work shipping horses to North America in the past 2 years on the turf here, 30% winners, 418 ROI. Just seems like a very reliable trainer with shippers.
Yeah, he's one of the best trainers in the world, Charlie Appleby, and he trains for the Godolphin outfit, obviously. This horse, I mean, listen, there's not that much really to say about him. Against this field, the way it's shaped up, he's going to be somewhere south of even money in this race. He's just going to be really, really hard to beat.
He won the prestigious $6 million Dubai Shima Classic earlier this year. His most recent start came in Germany, where he was the beaten favorite. We're going to look at that race right now, and I thought all in all he got a pretty good trip. He was pocketed after about the first half mile. He's in the Godolphin Blue. He comes out with a chance in this race. There just really wasn't a lot of pace for him to run at. I think there should be at least a little bit more in the Northern Dancer, and he's probably just simply the class of this field.
Yeah, it just looks like he might be too good for these horses. The thing that you like about him, too, is that he does have sort of a, tractable running style. He's not one of those Europeans who, breaks slowly and gets outrun in his races. He tends to keep the pace and range. If he runs any one of his, typical races that he's been running lately, he's probably just going to beat this field.
And since this is his first start in North America, we won't have a Timeform US chiclet for him on the pace projector, but let's throw it up anyway. And the number 2 Cooler Mike is expected to make the front over the speedy Tis a Slam. I wouldn't be surprised if there are some tactics going on in the early stages between the jockeys of both the 2 and the 6. Let's start with the bigger price runner, Cooler Mike, coming off of a win at this distance against restricted company, and he just made these horses pay. They turn into the stretch of the Halton Stakes, and he's already in clear command under a very confident ride. Blinkers has just woken this horse up. He's always been consistent, but this was a big-time effort, yet it only resulted in an 80 Beyer speed figure.
Yeah, he just dominated some weaker horses in this race. Once he was able to shake clear around that second turn in the race, it was basically over. There's nobody really running at the end of this race, so he's never in any danger. It's going to be a different situation here. I don't even know if I think he can make the lead over Tis a Slam in this race.
Focus Group is the number 3, and we know where he's going to be in the early portion of this race. He's going to be dead last because he has 0 early speed to speak of. We were really high on this horse last year after he won the John's Call, ran an okay third in the Canadian International, and while he's shown a spark here and there, I have to admit his last few races have just been too disappointing for me to take, even though I wouldn't be surprised if Chad has him primed and ready.
Yeah, I sort of look at him the same way. It just sort of feels like since they've stepped him up into the Grade 1 races, he hasn't really classed up. I still like him as a horse. I still think he's pretty good. I think races like this are tough for him, especially with that European shipping over. I just don't know if he can go with a horse like that.
But the distance is his friend. He's going to be running at the end of this race, and he does come out of a key Bowling Green, Zulu Alpha, and also ran in the Bowling Green. The 5th place finisher came back to win the Kentucky Turf Cup last week with a 100 Beyer speed figure. Here's old friend Nessie coming off a race at Ellis Park where he ran 7th that day. The 5th place finisher came back to win a race at Colonial with an 89 Beyer. He's an in-and-outer. You get him into the right kind of company, he can beat you in graded stakes ranks, as he did in the San Juan Capistrano of 2018. I just think he's a cut below these horses.
Yeah, I look at him exactly the same way. He ran fine 2 starts back when he just couldn't quite get to Tis a Slam at Churchill. A race like that, or an effort like that's probably not going to get it done in this field.
I tend to agree with you that Tis a Slam, the 6, is going to make the lead over that long shot because that's what's been producing the money in his last few races. Let's go back to the Nijinsky last time out where he's in against Sir Sahib, and for the 3rd consecutive race at a mile and a half, Tis a Slam was never headed from start till finish. He is a stayer with speed, and that is always dangerous. Far outside, we see Sir Sahib trying to get into it to run second. Just not good enough for Tis a Slam. Listen, if he shakes loose through some moderate fractions in the Singspiel 2-back, he went 53-2 on the lead. This European might be in some trouble.
Yeah, his good race, when he can get loose on the lead, it makes him tough in races like this. His speed is always dangerous. He is not a grade 1 horse. They've tried it a couple times. He can't win those races. But he's really good when they put him in the right spots. And listen, this race didn't come up that strong. He's not as good as Old Persian is. But if he gets loose on the lead, maybe he can take him a long way.
Top pick time for the Grade 1 Northern Dancer Turf. We just think Old Persian's got a little bit too much class for this field. Not a very attractive betting proposition at even money, but maybe a horse you could really, really lean on in multiple race wagers. I went 136.
Yeah, he's just too hard for me to go against too. I went 163.
It is the Grade 1 Northern Dancer Turf, part of a huge afternoon of racing at Woodbine on Saturday. It has an approximate post of 6:17 Eastern. Best of luck.